What's your opinion on placing a cap on school and property taxes in New York State?
I think we should totally do it. And I actually have a way to do this. Now, if you go to mission number 2 on my website, which is jasonstokes.org, I put some detailed plans on there. And it's probably more than I can fill your head with in 2 minutes. And there's a 6-step plan on how to get us fiscally responsible again. And it all starts with placing caps on the spending that we can create, and creating legislation that says no unfunded mandates, and then it moves on to saying where our future savings are going to go. It's going to go toward business taxes, and so that we can start luring more jobs, more businesses here, so that we will have to, we will be in a position where we won't have to collect as many business taxes to break even. But first, those savings will go toward paying off our debt. So once you start making it so there's less business taxes, and you start building a record, and more jobs come here, more people come here, more commerce comes here, your tax base starts widening, this is where you'll be able to lower your property taxes, where you'll be able to lower your cost of living. Because now there's a load that many more people are sharing. Now I want to provide for where the savings come from, which is changing the mentality that we have, which is if we don't spend our entire budget this year, we're not going to get it next year. And this one would probably take 2 minutes for me to tell you just in itself, but it works. It's just common sense stuff. Please check out my website. Moves on to step number 4. I say if they can't pass a budget on time, then they shouldn't be getting paid for as long as it's overdue. That time should be voluntary. Now steps number 1 through 3 have to happen first, because if they don't, then to pass a budget, our legislators will go, okay, we'll just raise taxes. That's how we'll pass the budget this year. So, but steps 1 through 3, if you read them, you will find that, actually they're in the pamphlets that I brought tonight. But if you read them, you're going to see it's just common sense stuff. Time. Thank you.
The state of New York gets enough of our money. Our local municipalities and our school districts get enough of our money. By capping property taxes, we have a chance to hold the line. But the devil's always in the details. If you cap property taxes at 2 or 3%, and we continue unfunded mandates from the state onto our local county and villages, they're going to find some other way to get the money. They're going to raise the sales tax. They'll increase fees on us for using the parks or whatever it is, licenses. So the real problem is spending. We have to get a handle on spending first. It's like anything else. If you have a pressure cooker and you hold the top of it on, you keep the heat going, eventually it's going to blow up. Now what happens is they play games. They borrow. It gets pushed off onto our children. They cut necessary fields like our police departments and our fire departments so that we get scared and we lift the tax caps. So we have to get a handle on spending in order to make tax caps work. Yes, I'm for them. Actually, I want to roll them back instead of just cap them, but we have to take care of spending before we do anything else.
Any rebuttal on this?
I think he's been reading my website.
Okay. Mr. Garrison, this will be for you. New York State has the highest cost per student and the highest dropout rate in the United States. How would your administration address this issue?
I think the simple answer is that putting money at a problem, the old liberal answer, doesn't work. We only have, there is one place where they spend more money on students than we do, and that's Washington, D.C. It's not a state, so it probably didn't fall into your, and their dropout rate is even worse than ours. Throwing money at a problem doesn't solve it, but that's what we do in Albany. And if you buck that system, if you say, oh no, we shouldn't spend that money, well, you're against education, you're against children. How could that be? And that's what you're going to hear. You don't think that that's what we're going to hear from Donna and her friends? We're against kids, we're against education. We should be spending more. The point is that if your kindergarten teacher gets a raise from $85,000 a year to $95,000 a year, it didn't make her a better kindergarten teacher. But that's what we do. We need to have common sense in everything that we attack. And school spending is one of those areas. Do we need every multi-million-dollar football field that we have? No. Green Bay Packers somehow managed to play on grass. Binghamton Patriots can't. I don't know why. But we need to look at each and every one of these things. And whenever you have a third party spending money, it's not coming out of their pocket, you'll always have the possibilities of fraud and abuse. We need to be regulating every one of these things. And that means us, the taxpayer. We have to watch every expenditure. Thank you.
As far as the highest cost goes, like I said before, every government-funded organization, be it schools or whatever, fire departments, police departments, street departments, they work under the premise if we don't spend our entire budget this year, we're not going to get it next year. Now, if you know anybody that actually works for a school, or especially if you've spoken with anyone that is in the budgeting department, they know how much waste there is. They know about the end-of-year shopping sprees that they go on. They know about things like, well, shoot, it would be better for us to tear that building down rather than renovate it, and then we'll build a new one, because we got to spend this money, because if we don't, we're not going to get it next year. Now, things like that kind of mentality is what needs to change. Now, as far as the dropout rate, I think that comes down to parenting. I think bad parenting is what's killing our society. But what I want to do, again with our school system, is move to a voucher type system so that we can actually let parents start taking a more active role in their children, either through homeschooling, or they could send them to non-secular schools or even secular schools if they want to. Now the thing is, if a child represents a certain denomination or a certain fraction of a tax base, then let those dollars follow that child. And you know, the thing is, for me, what's most important here is once we start making God so that He is an option, things will start getting better. And you know, I know there's tons of parents out there that would love to be able to send their kids to some type of non-secular school, but you know what? Freedom of religion right now for your kids is not a right, it's a privilege. It costs you about $5,000 per child per year in order for you to send your children to the learning environment of your choosing. Now, I think that's wrong, because we're supposed to be America. We're supposed to have freedom of religion. I'd like to start exercising that.
Voucher idea has been around for a long time. And, it's a good idea.
Thank you.
Yeah, well, if you had thought of it, I heard Gerald Ford do it in 1976. I worked for the Catholic schools for a few years. And I saw in the Catholic school system how good education can occur without a ton of money being spent. I saw a principal who would teach drivers education. And it's a mindset. It's a mindset of wanting to get the job done and not just wanting to spend money and saying, aren't we great? We just opened up this brand new school here in Johnson City, and now we've done a $50,000 renovation to it. And now we did another $2 million renovation to it. And meanwhile, Maine Ed Wall says, well, we better, you know, put $50 million into our school. It's a mindset. Thank you.